Hello friends, Namaskar, I am Anil Kumar Srivastav. I shall present today before you the deliberations which were going on 9th and 10th September in New Delhi, Bharat Mandapam, the G-20 summit. It was the 18th summit of the G20. Before this, in Indonesia, Bali, the 17th summit has been organized, and the next summit, that is the 19th summit, will be organized by Brazil. First of all, I shall discuss the members and the working system of this group. This group was formed in 1999. There were 7 countries from the Asian continent, that is the Republic of South Korea, and Japan, China, Indonesia, India, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. And there were five countries from the European countries, that is Italy, France, Germany, and United Kingdom, and European Union and Russia were the members from the Europe. And all the important countries of the North America, that is Canada, USA, and Mexico, all the members. And besides this, the 2 participants are from the South America, that is Argentina and Brazil, and only one country is from the large continent Africa, that is South Africa, and the one other country, that is the Australia. These are the members. So there are the 19 countries and one European Union is the member. So we see that there is a dominance, complete dominance of the developed countries, especially European Union and the northern countries. There was no say for the south countries, that is Africa is one of the most important area of South Pole. So we find that in 1999 there was a economic depression in Asia and the world, and that is why this forum, that is Group 20, was formed to solve the problems, economic problems of the world, and particularly the finance ministers and the governors of the central bank of the countries participated in it. This was the solution, economic solution organization. But later on, when in 2007 Great Depression also took place in the whole of the world, then it was felt that now this forum should address the economic parameters of all the countries, and heads of the government will attend the meeting. And from 2009 we should go how this works. It has got no secretariat, only the trio, that is the predecessor country which has organized the G20 meeting, and the next G20 meeting will be organized that country, and the present organizing country, that is India, will take part, that is Indonesia, and Brazil was supporting for the development of the G20 agenda. And in this agenda, especially the international finance organization like IMF, World Bank, World Trade Organizations, and FSM, the financial stability, and many other organizations, UNESCO, WHO, all the other organizations participate. India has also invited 9 countries, special invitees, and 3 of them were from the Africa, that is the largest economy of the world, largest economy of the African countries, that is Nigeria has been invited, and Egypt, one of the most important civilization, ancient civilization, has also been called. And besides this, the Mauritius, that is also called Small India, that has also been called. So these and there and the president of the African Union, Azoli Osani, who is from Comoro, has also been invited. So these there are the consultative groups on different things like the tourism, environment, climate, and other economic concepts. There are more than 200 meetings have been organized, and in this there is a consultative group on financial problems, and this financial group forms the finance ministers, the international finance organizations, and the researchers, the civil society members, and the think tank, and these are the participants which organize the different meetings in the different districts and different places. And the second one is called, every country has got one Sherpa, and this Sherpa takes stock about the developments in these meetings, and they closely study and they sort out the different kind of agreements and different kind of agendas which comes out of those meetings. So the Sherpa and the financial group, these two work in the finalization of the G20 final summit agenda. We can see that before I proceed further, I would like to quote the famous blogger Madhu Bhutra, who says that आसमां के बादलों पर जल की बूंदों पर नज़र गड़ाए उस चातक का रुख अब बदल रहा है, ढूंढ रहा है मेघ उसकी उत्कंठा देख पाया उसे तो आज धरा पर बिन मौसम ही दिख गया है, भारत ही वह चातक है जिसने बादलों के संग विश्व समान नभ को अपना बना लिया है। युग के विश्वामित्र ने नूतन सृष्टि की अकल्पनीय झलक G20 को दिखा दिया है। सो वी फाइंड दैट द इंडिया हैज़ बीन एबल टू शो द whole all of the countries that the ancient Indian culture, that is, we have been able to show the Konark Sun Temple, and we have been able to show the 2005 years before the in Prakrit language it was written that the that is Bharat, that is India, wants to see the whole of the world as the plenty of happiness. And in Maha it has been said in one slok of in the 6th chapter, that is in Sanskrit, and I quote, I am Nijah Paro Veti Garna Laguchet Sam उदार चरिता नाम तुही वसुधैव कुटुम्बकम, यानी इसकी जो थीम रखी गई थी वो महा उपनिषद के इसी भाग से रखी गई थी कि पूरी पृथ्वी ही परिवार है, यानी एक धरती, एक परिवार और एक भविष्य। जिस प्रकार से ये कितना ही भारतीय संस्कृति का एक अमूल्य देन है और जो पूरे विश्व को एक परिवार मानती है। और जिस प्रकार से आपदाएं आ रही हैं, जिस प्रकार से अभी भारत ने जो इसमें महत्वपूर्ण उपलब्धियां हासिल की हैं, उन पे मैं आपके समक्ष रखना चाहता हूं। महत्वपूर्ण उपलब्धियां खास तौर से इसमें यह कहा गया कि G20 को जिस समय इसमें जोड़ा गया तो भारत ने पूरी दुनिया को एक कूटनीतिक छक्का लगा दिया और चीन ऐसे भौचक्का रहता देखता रह गया। अरे वर्ड बोलने लगे। हाँ, I would like to further tell you that what happened in this, that when our leader Prime Minister Modi has reached in the Mandapam, Bharat Mandapam. He said he paid tributes to the persons dead because of the because of the earthquake. Many persons have died, and secondly, he put the proposal before the summit, and the second proposal was that I would like to include the face of the South, and that is the African Union into G20. Thereafter, all the members ratified the proposal, and thereafter the Indian Foreign Minister Jaishankar went to the President of African Union, who is the President of Comoro also, and named Azoli Osani. And Azoli Osani has been taken to his seat as the African Unity member, and Azoli Osani has praised India and the African countries, and because this was the great time for them that they are entering into a new segment. So we can see that this was the master stroke, because India was able to not only give the membership of the G20 to the African Union, which is which has 55 members in it, but has also been able to balance the whole G20. G20 was previously dominated by the northern countries, because Eastern European Union and the North America, these were dominating the scene. So South was not represented, and that the one country was representing the whole country. More than 1 billion population resides in Africa, and the African countries are have the less development. 23 less developed countries belong to Africa, and Modi wanted to enter its entry into it, and as soon as it has now been entered, the master stroke has been made by the Indian Prime Minister. So balance has now been come, and secondly, it should be seen in the light of the investment made by the China in the different economies of the Africa. And African continent countries are rich in minerals and rich in other metals, etc., but they are poor because they have achieved freedom after a long time. And it should also be seen that the Mahatma Gandhi has gone to South Africa, and he felt the heat of the policy of apartheid, and he was then saw that he got a first class ticket, but he could not travel because he was from the black community, and he fought against it, and the truth and non-violence has been invented by him. And thereafter he came to India, and in India the Britishers also felt the heat of the Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was believed in the self-reliance, and that is why he has a goat and he has a spinning mill, and he wanted to give all the Indians that they should have a cloth for them and for their own efforts, and the goat was representing the self-reliance of the Indians. And this small man was very much important in all the countries and all the universities. We find the Gandhi statue and Gandhi excellence. So I shall discuss it later on. But the most of the second master stroke was very important, and that was done as an alternative to the BRI route. And BRI is a silk route, and China has started this in 2013, but because of the volatile state and because of the unstable countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran and other countries, there is hardly any possibility that this project may succeed. So India has presented a new theory of the trade and new route, and that route is called India Middle East European Economic Corridor. And this is long, this is 6,000 kilometer long from India to Germany, and it will start from Bombay, and thereafter there will be maritime ports, and after that it will enter into UAE, and then it will enter into Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Israel, and thereafter it will go to the European countries. So it has got nearly 3,500 kilometers of this road belong to the sea route, and the cables and the other things are also needed for this. So and rail network will be raised in the south, in the Middle East countries. And it is the master stroke in the sense that the USA, that the China has provided loans to many countries for the development of the BRI route, but most of the countries are suffering from the Chinese debt. The China has made bankrupt many of the countries like Nigeria and Ghana and Sri Lanka and Kenya. So its confidentiality is very low, and the world treats China as a clever country. And because of this, this new route has been explored, and this was not a new route. This was in prevalence. It was used from 2nd century BC to 11th century AD. Especially, we find that a book has been written, as being written by Dalrymple. The name of the book is Golden Road, and this says that this route has been very successfully and very securely used by the Romans, because the Roman women or Roman females wanted to have a gemstone, and India has a gemstone and also silk, and this was exported to there. Spices were also exported, and many other things has also been exported to the Roman Empire. And Roman Empire only exported the wine and one more thing is that is some very small quantum of things were imported from there by India, and because of this, the balance of payment was in the favor of India, and much gold have came to India through this route, because India exported large number of things and Romans were exporting less things. and that is why the more and more gold was coming to India. And in Mujris, city near in Kerala, near Cochin, we have found large number of the Roman coins, and this indicates that there was a well-developed sea route and export-import trade between the Roman Empire and India. And this was done through the Red Sea and Egypt. In Egypt, we find a papyrus. The papyrus are used for making different kinds of things. Papyrus is used for as a paper also. And I think that the paper was coined after papyrus. Papyrus is a plant which is used in different things, and especially as a paper. And one excavation has been made in Egypt near becmes, which finds that there is a papyrus has been found, and this papyrus is kept into the museum of Austria, Vienna, and it was, when read, it indicates the full theory of the trade, especially sea trade, how the cargo will move, how the things will move, and what will be the conditions of the terms and trade of the sea route, what will be the insurance material. This all has been found in the shipment document that has been found in Egypt. So these proves that India has been the major trader through this route. So, and nearly 8 countries, USA, European Union, Italy, France, Germany, and UAE and Saudi Arab, all have signed on it. So we find that if this route is constructed, this will generate a new momentum in all the economies of Arab and Africa, and besides this in India also. So nearly 300 billion euro are needed for it, and if all the countries are ready for this, so this project will come out in nearly in 29 and 30. In 2030, in this Delhi Declaration, we also found that it envisages the gender gap between the women and the discrimination of the persons on the basis of their gender. This has to be removed, and besides this, the AI, artificial intelligence, should be given to all the countries, because artificial intelligence is very important in coming days. It will substitute for men, and in different fields like the print and media, and it will also affect the health services and other things also. So, and a new declaration of health services has also been made, that the healthcare system should be developed, and it should be developed in a manner that if some kind of epidemic like COVID-19 comes out again, then the whole world should get the benefit of all the infrastructure of the healthcare, whether it is vaccine or whether other infrastructure which are needed for this. So in post-COVID-19 era, we can see that there will be more cooperation in the field of the health care, and the most important thing, that is the climate change, which is making many of the disasters are coming, whether in India or in US, because the greenhouse gases emission is going high, and in this light we should have focus on this, and the Delhi Declaration focused on it, and it said that the developed countries are responsible for the greater temperature or greater carbon emission, and that is why they should give more funds to the uh, developing economies, and especially the economies of Africa. And because they have not developed, they are developing economies, and they need to develop, and a fund for the climate and carbon trading should be made available to these countries which are developing. So $100 billion has already been uh, dedicated for this purpose. So we find that there is on another area that is also called the uh, digital public infrastructure. So digitalization has become the most important thing in not only in India but whole of the world. Many of us are using the internet, but there are negatives and positives of this. So there is a need to develop a digital infrastructure, and digital economy should be given full exposure, and for this the transfer of technology should also be given to the developing countries. So India has been able to make a declaration by the unanimous decision in most of the fields, and one of the other important fields which was of very important nature, that is the Russian and Ukraine war. In the declaration of Delhi, four times the Ukraine has been quoted, and India has very diplomatically drafted the declaration. India made a declaration or commitment that all the 193 countries who have signed the United Nations Charter, they must follow the United Nations Charter, that no dispute should be solved by violence, by attacking. The sovereignty, unity and integrity of all the countries must be respected, and the countries who are not paying heed to this, they must conform to the international law, and only then the world can progress, and only the peace must come to the India. And the Ukraine war has shown this world that there is a scarcity of the food, or the food chain has been totally destabilized, the energy chain has been destabilized, and because of this Ukraine and Russian war, all the developing economies are facing the hunger, and they are not getting the proper fuel. Biofuel has also been introduced in the biofuel alliance has also been introduced. So we find that and this warning was also given that no country can use the nuclear warfare, and nuclear warfare can never be used in the war. And it has also been said that this is not a time of war, and it is a time that we should solve the problems facing the world, whether it is a question of food scarcity, or whether energy scarcity, or climate change, or digital information infrastructure, or the SDG goals, discrimination on the ground of sex. These should also be taken into consideration. So we find that the Delhi Declaration has been a great success. India has used this platform for the development, for the development of the world and also showing its culture to the whole of the world. In 1983, NAM has been organized in India, in which 99 heads of the countries participated. But now in 2023, we have been able to organize a more inclusive agenda of G20. Now G20 has become G21. So this development has been very much useful for the developed countries and developing countries. And you can also compare it with the BRICS. BRICS comprises some developing economies, and while the G7 represents only developed economies, but here the G20 has become the forum for greater than the BRICS and than the G7, because it includes North and South, it includes developed and developing economies. So we can hope that this will go a long way. And the next session, which is going to be organized in Brazil, will be done by the Lula da Silva, the president of Brazil. He has said that we have to implement the daily declaration in the coming days, and besides this, he has declared that in G20 his most important parameter will be the hunger. He said that if 7 billion people are not getting proper food, they are sleeping without food, then how can we sleep? So this will be the agenda, and this will also find, as in daily declaration it has been found, that the more and more capital should come to the least developing countries of Africa, and the more and more transfer of the technology should be made for a balanced development of the whole world, because the world is a family. And Prime Minister Modi has ultimately said that Sarvastu Astu Vishwasya, meaning thereby that the whole world should be full of happiness and full of pleasure. With this, he has ended the summit. So this is this event has gone a long way to make and prove India that India is a